Hi, this is going to be my review of CueThink, which is called Make Math Social. So CueThink.com is the web address, and it is a growth mindset focused website that enables students to use the UPSR problem solving strategy. And it has package pricing. It is not free. So the packages include these four components that you can have a math forum content bundle that gives you a problem of the week for students to work on. QTeach 1.0 is professional development tools for problem solving, so it kind of helps you use the program. QThink Professional Learning Guide, it just kind of goes through the hows and whys of teaching problem solving this way. And implementation consultation sessions, which they actually send a specialist out and they do some training with you at the beginning of the year, and then they come back at the end of the year, I think, and kind of review how things went. So it is rather pricey. The regular package depends on the amount of students that you are planning to use this for. So you can see bare minimum, the cost is $3,500 a year. And the package includes student subscriptions and then those other tools that I just talked about. And that's per year pricing. So like I said, it's rather expensive. There is another option that once you use it, they have a renewal bundle cost. And so it does get a little bit cheaper per year, that the price will drop to $2,800 for your second year and so on. So they give you a little bit of a discount, but in my opinion, it's still rather pricey. Working for a private school, I wouldn't dream of even taking this to my admin team to consider, because I know that the cost would probably just turn them away. Making math social, that's kind of their catchphrase, and it is supposed to help students in grades 2 to 12 engage and support students in critical thinking and math communication. The way it works is that students create what's called a thinklet using the website features to show how they went about solving the problem. And a thinklet is simply just a video, and the students can kind of do like a screencast type thing, and it gives them a whiteboard feature, and other students and the teacher can go back and comment and things like that. The videos can be replayed or archived and used to assess students, so you might want to create like a portfolio of how they're doing with things. So the way it goes through, it says it's a four-step problem-solving process, and so I'm going to analyze it using those four steps. So the first step is understand, and the understand screen allows students time to brainstorm after reading the problem, and it organizes their thoughts in several different categories. And one category would be what they wonder, what they notice. They can use a highlighter to highlight the important information in the word problem. They can make some estimates about what they think the answer might end up being. They can use the pen and cross out and unnecessary information. They can click on a button for scrap paper, so they can kind of start sketching out what they think might need to be done. Students can work together to think about the problem and what they need to know. This is primarily an asynchronous tool. However, you could easily put a pair of students together to work on a problem using the tool, and so they could collaborate that way, writing down what their thoughts are and just kind of coming up with a plan together. The second part is to plan. So when they go to this phase, they're supposed to mark what strategies they think will help them solve the problem. And it gives a whole list, and you can add other strategies to it if you want to. And they have to write out their plan. So they have to actually spell out in words, I'm going to add 2 plus 2, and then I'm going to multiply, or whatever they need to do. They have to actually write it out before they even can do it. This allows them to demonstrate mastery by allowing the teacher to see what the student's thinking. How are they intending to solve the problem? Not just the work, but the thinking aspect. It's a great way to assess that component. The third step is to solve, and this stage gives the student a whiteboard on their screen, and they can write or draw out their solutions. There's lots of tools that they can use to make charts or equations, and there's just a lot of different fun tools to use. They also record at this point. So there's a record button. They talk through and explain what they are doing and why they are doing it. So this builds upon that demonstrating mastery piece, and Rice says on page 125 in the book that it can provide long-term evidence of learning. And so these recordings, since they can get saved and archived and put in a student portfolio, it allows that. You can show the students' growth from the beginning of the year to the end of the year and show how they've demonstrated mastery as they've gone along. It also demonstrates problem solving. Obviously, like, this is a problem solving application, and so it helps students to figure out how to solve problems, what they need to do to work through different problems, and it shows their thinking behind it. The last step is to review, and this allows the students to check their math, check their recording. It gives like little checklists. Did you do this, this, and this? Did you remember this, this, and this? Is your voice loud enough? Things like that. They can review their estimate and evaluate, was their estimate high, was it low, why or why not? And then they can submit it. And that is all about reflection. And so they can reflect on their own work before they even submit it. They're reflecting upon it. And this is where it changes slightly, that it becomes a more collaborative tool, because once it's submitted, then the rest of the class can go and view it, and they can listen to the recording, they can see the work being worked out, they can see the estimates and the plan of action, and they can actually discuss it. There's a little chat section that they can make comments, and they can actually connect those comments to specific times in the video. And of course, the teacher can also use this as an assessment piece. So once they get submitted, it goes into this gallery, and they can view the students' videos, they can annotate and make notes and comments. They can also flag or like them or share them. So it's kind of like looking at a Facebook post. Oh, I like that, and you can hit a thumbs up. So it makes it a little bit of a fun, collaborative way of using an asynchronous tool. You can see, like, everybody can see the whole process, not just the final product. I think it provides for some collaboration and feedback, but it's also something that can be completely done as an individual, that you don't need the rest of the class to help you. Obviously, the feedback is beneficial, but pretty much you're on your own going through it. Connecting to the social presence model, I didn't really see a big component of effective association. The community cohesion piece, you can see through the annotations once the videos are submitted and are in the gallery. That's where the community as a whole gets built. Interaction intensity, again, those annotations that other students or the teacher is making, that's about the most interaction this tool provides. Now, knowledge and experience, this obviously shows in a big way their knowledge, and the annotations allow students to share with one another. And so, as it was stated on page 163 in the article by Dickers, Whiteside, and Lewis, um, sometimes students are able to teach things in a way the teacher can't. And they just say things in a different way, and the other students are like, oh, now I get it. And so, definitely, those annotations might play into that type of setting where a student might be like, well, this is how I would have done it, or whatever. And without even having the teacher there making comments, they might learn better just from their peers. Instructor involvement, you would have to pre-teach the problem-solving steps. I don't think you could just dump this on the kids and say, here you go, solve the problem. You would definitely have to do some pre-teaching. But the teacher would not be an active participant necessarily. It depends a little bit how you would implement this into your classroom, but pretty much the student's going to go through and they're going to solve the problem by themselves. Now, you could do this as a whole class, and then the teacher would kind of be facilitating and encouraging students through the whole process, but as it is set up to use, it would be totally independent on the student's part until you get to that end stage where then this teacher can make comments. Or you could play back a video and talk through it and explain why the student was correct or why they were wrong. Does anybody see any errors? Things like that. I think it's a great tool. I don't think I would use it necessarily in my classroom, just because I don't think it's a great use of technology. I think there's other programs out there that can kind of do the same thing, and it's very expensive. It is nice to be able to just click on something that you want to teach. If I'm teaching decimals, I can click on that standard and it'll give me a word problem connected to that standard. That's nice, but I could see myself using the add your own feature more often and just typing in word problems and then doing it as a class or having them solve in pairs or whatever. I say, lucky I chose a math unit. You know, this site is useless if you are not a math teacher. It's not going to be used in any other subject. Science, perhaps, but that would even be a stretch. It's mostly just for math. So like I said, I would choose a problem that connects to that standard. So if I'm looking at rounding decimals, I can type in that standard and it will give me a selection of word problems to use that works on that particular skill. I personally think that I would like to see more collaboration, maybe have a team work on a problem in a breakout room if I'm doing an online class, and then bring it back, and then they could present it to the class and we could watch the recording and we could discuss then what went well, what didn't go well, things like that. But in my general standard traditional classroom, I don't know that I would use it. I don't know that I would feel confident enough that it's a good use of technology for the cost. This is kind of the setup for what it looks like. It gives you the word problem and you go through those different steps. So thank you for listening, and I hope you have a better understanding of CueThink.